Hey, welcome back to High School Game Day here on the Missouri Sports Network, the Missouri Sports Network, where everyone has a home field advantage. Certainly glad you tuned in. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Coming to you live from the Peach Ranch studio and presented by Central Bank of the Ozarks, Doak Propane, Shelter Insurance agents Grant Baker and Sean Holman, also presented by Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks, the Bank of Billings, established 1889, the oldest bank in Christian County, and Great Southern Bank. They care as much about your money as you do. Going to back to Springfield, going to talk with the Kickapoo Chiefs head football coach Nate Thomas. Coach Thomas, thanks so much for your time today.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk about our football program.
Coming off of a 500 season a year ago in a very tough conference, you got to a district, played a very good, peculiar team. But talk a little bit about what you've got coming back, and maybe some guys are going to have to step up and fill some spots that you lost due to graduation.
Sure. We got the vast majority of our guys back, especially on defense. We've got 8 of our starters back. We lost an all-conference, all-district selection in Anderson Underwood at free safety, and Tyrus Shirts is going to step into that role. Played a little bit of outside linebacker for us last year, so he'll slide back to that safety spot. We filled the other holes on defense. We feel really good about it. Obviously, you got Andrew Link as one of those bookends that committed to Missouri State. So, and then we've got some guys around him that we're really excited about on defense. So, Kylan Mabins on the other side of the ball on offense will be in his junior season after starting every game as a sophomore. So we feel good about him getting 10 games under his belt and kind of cutting his teeth in the Ozark Conference, and was playing really well there at the end of the season. So he's got a lot of weapons around him. This will be the first year that Samias Pickett, our all-state corner, and Jackson Young are our full-time running backs on the other side of the ball. So between those two, and then we've got Cale McCarville back at receiver. We have Sean Campbell back at receiver. Trey Christian's done a phenomenal job all summer. Has done a really nice job taking over that spot that Zaid left. And then Paxton Wayner, who's our tight end, who's a returner, played every game as a sophomore, has done a great job at tight end for us. So we feel really good about our team. And then obviously we losing Nick Quadrini, the kicker, going to Mizzou. We lucked out and got another soccer kid. So I think there's going to be some teams that are disappointed with the kid that we bring out there because he's pretty good as well. So
As you look back, this is your 6th year there at Kickapoo. Is this the most returners that you've had coming back going into a season?
2 years ago, that COVID year when we lost our 2 games, we picked up Webb City, and then we had a game where we just didn't fill. Was the only other year where we had this many guys back. This is the most talented team that we've had here at Kickapoo since I've been here, top to bottom. So, and they've been really good this senior class since they were freshmen. So the expectations around here are very high for those guys, and they've met that bar so far all summer.
Very good, Coach. Talk a little bit about what you're 10 days into the fall season. Started 2 Mondays ago. What's practice been like? Weather kind of semi, helped you out a little bit, but it's still warm out. But this is to be expected. But what's it been like here the first 10 days?
It's just the typical Southwest Missouri weather. The guys last Thursday, got on our turf for the first time. We were over on the grass for basically all of June and the first 2 weeks of July. So being able to get back over there on the turf has been nice. They've got a new appreciation for being able to practice on turf every day after being over there in the grass field next to the baseball field. So we've really only had one day where we went out and it was too hot and we had to take everything off, and we were just kind of having a walkthrough. We were lucky enough to go early yesterday. We went at 6 a.m. yesterday just to kind of avoid the weather, and it was a good thing we did because our freshmen got shut down because of lightning yesterday. So we got a good practice in at 6 a.m. before all of us had to go to teacher meetings. So it's been great so far.
Coach, talk a little bit about the jamboree coming up. What are your goals going into it? I understand I think you're at Nixa this year for your jamboree with Ozark and all three of you got new fields.
Yeah.
So you could win anywhere, but talk about going into that and what your plans are, your goals going in and coming out of that.
I mean, number one goal is you want to get everybody to the starting line next Friday. Obviously, you've got a great litmus test in Nixa and Ozark. Nixa obviously has done tremendous the last 2 years, so it's going to be a good test for us right out of the gate. We have them right at 7 o'clock, and then we follow them with Ozark right afterwards. We did a kind of a combined practice with Ozark back in July, so we've seen them once, and it's great competition. You talk about the Nixas, the Ozarks of the Central Ozark Conference. You're always talking about the upper echelon teams with Carthage and Webb and those guys. So anytime you can go against teams like that, it's always a great test for your team to see where you're at.
Well, just overall in the Springfield area, the football, the talent has gotten so much better. I've been doing this 15 years, and the talent level has really come up to maybe, where it used to be, down in that extreme southwest corner. And now, you talked about the young man that you have in Link signing to go to Missouri State. You've got other guys that Reed Spring and Nix is very talented. What can you maybe attribute that to? Is it just maybe the coaches, or maybe even the youth programs kind of stepping up?
I think it's a combination of a lot of things. Nixa does a really good job with their youth program. We've started a youth football program here with our flag stuff. And I think there's a kind of a bigger mix of guys that are playing more than one sport. Some guys that, typically in the past, here at least, didn't play football because they might have been basketball guys or this or that. Ever since I've been here, Coach McHenry has been awesome. I mean, Coach McHenry is on our sideline on Friday nights. He's in our coach's gear, and anytime we play at home, he's down there with us. So it's a huge advantage for us to have two guys that see eye to eye and want their guys to play as many sports as they can. So I think it's cyclical, in a lot of different sports and different areas. Up in Kansas City right now, the baseball up there is unbelievable. We went up to Liberty North a couple weeks ago at the end of July for a team camp, and they were talking about how many prospects that they had up there that were, the Milbrandt kid at Liberty got drafted in the first round. So, and then they have some really good football up there too. So I think it's great for Southwest Missouri. I think we've always had good football down here, and now that, it's kind of nice keeping some of these guys in Southwest Missouri for sure. Coach Petrino did a great job getting Link and the Weiss kid at Reed Spring. And, it's going to be nice to drive 5 minutes down the road and see those guys play on Saturdays next year.
You bet. Well, Coach, and again, we're visiting with Kickapoo Chiefs head coach Nate Thomas. As going into this season, overall numbers pretty good. I mean, I know a couple of years ago you had to buy new helmets. You just didn't have enough helmets or lockers.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have. We had to split our freshmen off into a separate locker room. We issued every helmet that we had here at Kickapoo. So right now, our problem is we don't have the jerseys to cover the numbers that we have right now. We've got some guys doubled up on numbers, and like I said, it's a good problem to have. We have great numbers, 9 through 12. Talked to our junior high coaches today, and they've got the highest numbers that they've had in the last 5 years. So we kind of want it to just be a machine that we just keep feeding around here. And our guys do a great job of staying out and getting after it. And that's the cool part is, some of our best players right now, or 2 years ago, were JV football players. Jackson Young, who's being recruited to Pitt State, was he was an outside linebacker running back for our JV program 2 years ago and has turned himself into one of our best defensive players. So our guys are bought into it right now, which is good.
Could you tell us a little bit about your coaching staff? Any additions there? What's kind of your coaching staff makeup?
It's a challenge here at Kickapoo. We have a lot of turnover just because we hire a lot of young guys. And we lost 4 coaches, just had one that moved to Houston. His wife had an awesome opportunity and moved. We had one that ended up going to Evangel to be the receivers coach at Evangel. So we've had to fill some roles for sure. The cool part is 3 of them are former Kickapoo players that played for me here. Another one was a guy that played at Marshfield, played quarterback for me there at Marshfield. And then I guess the big one would be Brenton Illum. Used to be the head coach at Evangel and spent time at Missouri State and Missouri Western. Just out of the blue, got a call, say, hey, you need to call this guy. I think you might be able to get him. And we were lucky enough to talk him into it. So he's coaching our defensive line right now and is doing a fantastic job. It was a huge hire for us. So, yeah, it's been a little turnover, but we're really happy with the staff that we have and the guys that we have that represent our program.
You bet. Well, Coach, it's always great to catch up with you. I appreciate you being generous with your time, and I know we'll get to talk more as the season goes on and see each other at the quarterback club at Pizza Ranch. And I can't wait for the season to kind of get started.
Sounds good, guys. I appreciate you having me on.
You bet. Kickapoo Chiefs head coach Nate Thomas here on the Missouri Sports Network on High School Game Day. Coach, thank you, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Have a good day.
Coach Nate Thomas. And as always, shows this episode brought to you by Pizza Ranch from our Pizza Ranch studio and Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks. And we'll play a little spot, and we'll talk to you soon.
Step into the new when you drive a Chevy. It's time for a fresh approach and a new perspective. And find the Chevy that's right for you. Find new experiences, find new roads. Chevrolet.